What's up, small business heroes? Welcome back to Small Business PR, where we make PR and marketing super accessible for the everyday small business hero. So if you have a product biz, listen up. This episode is for you. I have my friend Monica Little here. She is an expert product biz coach, and she's also the host of the Product Biz podcast. And we're going to talk about her favorite platforms. So if you're ever wondering, maybe Etsy, Amazon, Shopify, how to get more sales, how to be searchable on there, and how to just sell out this season, this episode is for you. Welcome to the show, Monica.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So I know that we talked a little bit before this episode about what we were going to talk about, and you kept saying Etsy. So there's a lot of different platforms. Let's talk about Etsy. Why is Etsy kind of a way not only just to sell your product, but to grow your product and get more visible?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I think a great place for us to start too. So for people who do have a physical product, I think primarily people have this end goal and this end vision of their own website and having their own website. And I'm of the frame of mind of, yes, of course, every single product-based business owner should have their own website because you drive your traffic there. You can get people on your email list. You can own the branding, the experience, and everything that's within that website. It's so critically important. And also how I teach growing a small business is that it's a game of numbers. It's truly how many people you can get in front of, how many people you can get exposure to. So while your website is working and you're driving your Instagram followers there, your email list there, Google SEO, those things are working for you on your website. There's also other incredible platforms to be on to get in front of people who aren't on your Instagram, aren't on your email list, and aren't maybe searching on Google. And one of those platforms that I love to help small business owners to really master and get more sales and get exposure on is Etsy. So when you think about Etsy, it's a selling platform, it's a marketplace, and the average customer and the average shopper, when they are looking for a unique product from a small business owner, majority of them go to Etsy because Etsy has this brand presence and this brand name of, hey, it's a marketplace to buy from small business owners. So this is why I love for small business owners, even if you have your own website, to also be on Etsy because there's over 80 million people on an annual basis that shop on Etsy. And if you are where the people go and you know how to get exposure and get found and get the sale on Etsy, now you're getting more eyeballs on your products. Now you're getting more customers. Now you're getting more visibility and now you're getting more sales. So really it's just the matter of, it's a game of numbers. How do you get in front of more people and how do you leverage those platforms and opportunities to do that? And one of them is Etsy.
Ooh, I love that frame of mind you put us in because, you know, for a lot of people, they might think, well, I'm not on Etsy. This episode doesn't pertain to me, but you're saying, well, actually you need to be on Etsy. And so when I think about Etsy, I think of, you know, like bridal things or maybe, you know, handmade things. Is there any out of the box things where someone's like, I should not be on Etsy? And you're like, no, you actually should be on Etsy. Like, is there any business that shouldn't be on Etsy or should we all just be on Etsy?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I think if you have a product that people purchase, you should be on Etsy for sure. And they also do digital products. So even a digital product. I don't think there's any in particular product that doesn't do well on Etsy. Unless the only caveat that I'll say is if someone is doing like drop shipping or if they're not actually making it or have a say in the design of the product. If you're buying something on Alibaba and then reselling it, that's not really going to fly on Etsy. However, if you are designing the product, making the product, skincare, jewelry, candles, anything in that bucket, artwork, woodwork, there's so many amazing products that small business owners have that people are going on places like Etsy to search. So I would say if you have a handmade physical product with some sort of handmade component, either from design to actually making the product, Etsy is going to be a beautiful place for you to get exposure and to get found. The other way that I'll pivot and mention it too is if you think about an average shopper, it's different for small business owners because when you're a small business owner, you know, like, let me buy direct from my small business friend. You know the benefit of buying direct because then that small business owner makes more money. There's less fees, all that fun stuff. However, if you think about the average shopper, which I'm going to refer to a lot, they're probably not going on Instagram to search for a specific candle. They're probably not going to Instagram hashtags. If they do go to Google, there may be a lot of bigger brands that are really paying for Google ads and are getting those top spots. So a lot of those average shoppers, when they're looking for something super unique and handmade that they can't find in other places or don't want to buy off of Amazon or elsewhere, they're going to go to Etsy. So just being where the people are. So anyone with a handmade product or a component that's handmade, Etsy is a good spot to be.
Okay. So let's say I have a product. Let's say I make jewelry and I'm looking for deciding between like Etsy, Amazon, Shopify. Should I just be on all of those places, but then pour most of my energy on Etsy, or should I not be on any of those places and just do Etsy?
Great question. Okay. So I'll give context on how I ran my business. So I used to have my own organic skincare small business. And I was pretty successful with it. And in a span of 3 years, grew it to $250,000 in sales. And how I ran my skincare small business is I mastered one project at a time. So for me in particular, I actually started on Etsy because Etsy, the barrier to entry is pretty low. It's 20 cents to put up a product. You don't need to be a website designer to actually create it. It's really, really user friendly, super easy, super self-explanatory. So I started on Etsy and I spent a month or two really mastering Etsy. Once I started to get some consistent sales coming in from Etsy, then I was like, cool, now let me master my own website. I personally used Squarespace at that point in time, spent a couple months really diving into website design, getting that up and running. And then I had that. Then it was like, okay, what's next? Then there's Amazon, there's Faire, there's these other platforms. So how I teach running and growing a small business is master every single one of those platforms. Then there's mastering PR, right? Every single one of these channels and components and pieces, it's like a piece of a puzzle. Now, what a lot of small business owners do is they focus on their website and they focus on their Instagram, and that's all that they focus on. And that's going to be pretty challenging because your website primarily is your traffic and Instagram primarily is like you showing up daily, marketing and nourishing your audience. Is that something that we have to do regardless? Yes. However, I like to not have eggs just in one basket. And if you can think of all these other platforms, Shopify or Squarespace, Amazon, Faire, Etsy, the news PR angle as well, those will help you to grow your business and just make it easier on you. And this is really where you start to scale when it's not just one egg in one basket, but it's like, cool, I got some sales coming from this channel, from this channel, from this channel. And that's when things really, really start to grow.
You know, I hear this all the time. Anyone who has a product business, so strapped for time. And I love what you said because, you know, we all know this because we're in the same mastermind circles is you just got to like everything works, all the strategies, but not all at once. So it's really about having the discipline to narrow down and be really good at one or two things. So let's talk about Etsy, right? You've convinced me. Let's say I have a jewelry business and what should I first do when I like put my shop up on Etsy? Walk me through the journey of how you were going to like with everything you know now, how you would do it for success.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So with Etsy, there's a couple key components that really matter. So it is an algorithm-based marketplace, right? Someone comes there and types something in on the search bar, and then there's an algorithm that determines who's on the first page, second page, or third page, and on. So really the name of the game is how you get on that first page. Because when someone's looking for a gemstone necklace, for example, they're typing that in specifically, they're probably not going to go to page 4, 5, 6, 7. What's on page 1 is probably going to catch their attention. So the most important part is how do you appear on that first page? How do you get those eyeballs? How do you get in that placement so people can actually find you? The second most important thing is then how do people actually click on your listing? Because when you're on the first page, there's still 45 to 60 other products on that first page. So cool, you're there. Now, how are you standing out against your competitors so people actually click on yours? The third most important thing is once they've clicked, now you have your listing, your product listing page where you have all the details and all the photos about your product. Now, the really interesting thing with Etsy is if someone is potentially buying from you on Etsy, they're probably not an Instagram follower. They're probably not on your email list, and they probably don't know about your website. So they don't know you. And the most important thing you want to do when someone is on your product listing is to actually make sure you're giving them every single piece of information that they may need. Because if there's one potential piece of information that's missing, for example, if it's a necklace and you don't specifically say the size of the necklace, like the length, how many inches, if someone needs to know that and it's not there, they're not going to message you on Etsy or find a way to contact you. They're going to hit the back button and go to one of the other 60 items that are right there to choose from. So the main part there is to make sure you're confirming the customer's expectations and you are talking about the benefits of your product, the features, everything that they may need to know. And then the fourth most important thing is the reviews on Etsy. So when you appear on the first page, you attract their attention and they click on your listing. You're confirming expectations with the right details that they need to know. The last thing is giving them trust through reviews. Similar thing to what I was just mentioning, that customers don't know you when they're buying from you on Etsy. There has to be those reviews for them to feel confident that what they think they're getting is what they actually will get. Because unfortunately, there are businesses on Etsy who are trying to make a quick buck that kind of ruin it for everyone. So having those reviews to give that trust to the shopper is going to be really helpful. So those 4 pieces are really what matter to have a kick-ass Etsy shop. And we can dive into like either one of those more strategically on like how to make that happen. But the magic is when you have all 4 of those and really making sure that you're treating this like a platform that can bring in consistent, pretty much like passive income once you've really mastered it, and creating an awesome Etsy experience. So those customers find you and those sales come in, and then it just turns into this beautiful machine, because as soon as you start getting sales on Etsy, Etsy wants to show you to more people, because when you get a sale, they make money. So when you give Etsy the confidence that you have a great listing and a great product, then they just show you to more people, and then it just really grows from there.
Oof, I love it so much. I mean, I love the 1, 2, 3, 4 things and how it's really about having all 4. That's gold. So I hope anyone who is listening to this come back to that. Let's talk about at the actual like tactical nitty gritty things. It's really hard for me. Like, for example, if I make jewelry, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a billion jewelry things on there. I'm just too late. So how can I still maybe hack the photo or the image or the subject line to make sure that I'm at least somewhat in the front of the 100 pages on Etsy?
Yes, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's dive into that one. Great question. So first thing, just to say, that's one of the biggest concerns that people have, is that Etsy is super saturated. And I totally get that, because there are thousands and thousands of business owners on Etsy. However, what most people do, most small business owners on Etsy, is they go to Etsy, they put up their listings really quick. They don't care to actually learn the platform or optimize it, and then they don't get any sales. So the people who actually are successful on Etsy, it's not saturated in that space. The people who are actually going to do above and beyond what's necessary. So although there's a lot of numbers in terms of businesses selling on Etsy, the ones who are actually learning how to do it right, that space is not saturated. So it's just the intention of, are you willing to do what's required? And if you say yes, cool, you're already going to set yourself apart. So in terms of actually appearing, Etsy is very similar to any search engine, where it matters what keywords you put in your title, depending on what keywords the customer is typing in that search bar. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make, which I did when I first started too, is we have the name of our product. So you said jewelry. I'm going to go with that example. I have a member who sells jewelry, and one of her necklaces is called Secret Garden Necklace. That's the name of her necklace. And what a lot of people do is that's what they use as their title for that product on Etsy. But you have to think of the average shopper. They're not going to Etsy and typing in Secret Garden Necklace. What they're going to Etsy and typing in is gemstone necklace with opal, lapis lazuli, amethyst, whatever it may be. Those are the words that they're actually searching for. So it's a super simple hack, but think through, what are your customers searching for? A good way to do this is, imagine if you're on the phone with a friend who's never seen your product. How would you describe it to them? You would say the colors, the size, the material, the scent, if it's a candle or something like that. Those, the benefits, like if it's skincare, those are the words that you want to use in the actual title of your product, because that is what people are actually searching for. Another super quick hack that you can do, is one that I love, is to go on Etsy and do a search for the type of product that you sell. Now, what's going to happen is that search bar is going to show you popular search terms that other people search. So now you can kind of take note of that. What you also can do when you're searching for a product that you sell is, on that first page, look to see what other people are using in their titles and tags, because success leaves clues. So we can see, okay, this person is on the first page. What is their title of their listing? Because that must be connecting with the algorithm that they're being shown here. Now you can take that one step further. We're going to get super nitty gritty. Some listings on Etsy, when you search for a specific product, have a little badge that says bestseller. That's an even larger indication for you to be like, let me see what this person who's selling this product is using for the title of their product, and start to create a document of like, okay, this person said organic face serum. This one said moisturizer. This one said anti-aging. This one said for dry skin. This one said for acne. And obviously make sure they relate to your product. But in this case, if it was a skincare product, you would use all those buzzwords as your title. So now when people are searching for that, bam, you're showing up. So with Etsy, you have the title of the product. You also can have 13 tags, which is essentially, I want to be correlated with these 13 words when someone searches for it on Etsy. So you would use the same titles and tags there. And also what you want to do is in your actual description for that product is to use those buzzwords as well, because it's just the SEO benefit of if it's in the title, the description, and the tag. You got that trifecta of now when someone searches for one of those keywords, you're going to be shown for them. One other thing that I'll say just on appearing on that first page is a lot of people do shop on Etsy for gifts. So great words that you can use in your titles, your tag, and your description is, who is it a gift for? Gift for mom, gift for best friend, gift for daughter, gift for son-in-law, gift for father-in-law. You can get super creative on those tags because people, and your title, because people go to Etsy and when they don't know what to buy for someone, they'll type in gift for Mother's Day, or maybe they type in necklace gift for Mother's Day. And if you've got that in your title, you're already one step ahead. So that will help to get on that first page. Just some research, takes a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of time, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. And then what I'll mention too is then to people click on your listing, we can talk about having an awesome photo. We can talk about the different marketing levers that Etsy has, like using a discount, free shipping, all of these bells and whistles that will draw eyeballs to your listing. So there's some like specific platform strategy to Etsy, which is just about learning those nuances. However, once you do, then it's just a great platform to be on.
Oh my God, you just gave like a 10-minute masterclass there. That's absolutely incredible. So many things. I could tell that you can do this in your sleep and you know this so well. Okay, so I love what you said about how to get on the first page. It's doable. Just follow these things. I actually do want to talk about what you said, those marketing levers. There's so many of them. And if, let's say we only had the next 30 days, gun to head, we had 30 days to like triple our revenue. What are the only levers that you would pull out of all the ones that you can pull?
Ooh, great question. Okay. So with Etsy, there really are, I want to say like 8 different marketing levers that you can use. And this is how I tell people to use them. When a platform has a marketing lever, it's because they know it works. Like their developers, the engineers and product developers and user experience people who work at Etsy are not coming out with a marketing lever with this special button or badge if they don't know for a fact that it leads to more sales. So I used to work at Expedia and we would test every single little thing on the website. If we changed the color of a button, we would split the traffic 50-50. 50 people had the original button color, the other 50 people would have the new button color, and we would see which one led to more sales, like the color of a button. And then whichever one was better, we would actually make that change to the website. So you have to think of Etsy that they're doing the same thing. If they offer the functionality for you to offer free shipping, that's because they know that when a listing has free shipping and a customer gets to checkout and there's no additional shipping costs, they're more likely to purchase. Like they know that. And that's the only reason why they rolled it out, to have it available on Etsy as an option. So for the marketing levers, I tell people to use all of them because they're there for a reason. They're there because it leads to more money for you and for Etsy, which is why they have them there. So a couple of those are offering free shipping. Another one is offering a sale, like a 20% off, 10% off, whatever that may be. They also have something called Star Seller, which is basically when you have great customer service, on-time shipping, and a messaging response rate, you get another little badge. So these are some of the ways to stand out, because a lot of small business owners won't do free shipping and won't offer a discount and won't do what's required for a Star Seller. Now, what I'll say here is, a lot of people may be like, oh my gosh, free shipping, but that's like $8. And oh my gosh, a discount, that's going to be 10% or 15% off. with Etsy and with owning a product-based business in general, you have to know your product pricing, and your product pricing has to be right. Because otherwise, on any platform with the fees and the shipping, etc., you're going to reduce your margin so much that at the end of the day, you may be selling, but your bank account isn't growing. So if anyone is like, well, free shipping is way too expensive for me to do, or offering a discount is way too expensive for me to do, then it's just like, you got to go back to the drawing board on your pricing, because you should have buffer to do that. Like, that shouldn't be something that makes or breaks your profitability in your business. So really, it's having awesome pricing, using the levers that are available to you, knowing that that is going to separate you, because the free shipping is in green, a star seller is in purple, the discount is in green. So when we're on that page where there's 60 other products similar to yours, and you're the only one with this green and this purple, those eyeballs are going to be drawn to your listing and people are going to click. So when you do what others won't, you get the results that others don't have. And that's really how you get people to then click on your listing and get them one step closer to adding to cart.
Ooh, so good. Now I want to know all 8. I have another question though. Is paid,
Yeah.
like, the featured ones, does that even work? Because it's just, if everyone's using a featured product, then it doesn't become important to me anymore.
Did you say paid, like the paid Etsy ads? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
know if you can do that on Etsy where you pay to like get, higher up in the rankings.
Yes, 100%. So you can. They do have Etsy ads, and they're super simple. So you basically determine how many dollars per day you want to pay for Etsy ads, and then you choose which products. So it's very basic. You're not choosing what keywords you want to be shown for or anything like that. Now, I love Etsy ads. However, I'm a big fan of it once you know that your listings convert. Because what a lot of people do is they put something up on Etsy, then they pay a bunch of ads to it, and then they don't get any sales, and they just spent X amount of dollars. And that's because you haven't gone through those 4 steps we talked at the beginning of actually like attracting the audience and confirming their expectations and giving them trust. You can pay all the ads that you want, but if the right details, the right reviews, the right photos aren't there, people aren't going to buy. So how I coach my members is, once you have a conversion rate of like 3% on Etsy for your listings, which is 1 to 3% is pretty standard. So I like to go on the high end. When you have a conversion rate of 3%, meaning if 100 people see your product, 3 of them buy, that's great. Then you want to pay for Etsy ads. Like I said, super simple. You have proof that your listings work and you have the right information. So now let's put a little bit of gas on the fire and see if we do get exposed to more people, what happens. A lot of my members do have really great success with Etsy ads. It's a pay per click model. So you only get charged if someone actually clicks on your listing. And on the Etsy search page, like that first page when someone searches for a keyword, the ads are there and they're very like, you wouldn't know it's an ad. The average customer would not know it's an ad. It just says in small words, ad by Etsy seller. So people literally think it's just the top result on that top row. So it can really work. I just caveat and say, make sure your conversion rate and your listings are in a good spot. And then, just monitor the return on ad spend. Make sure it's at least like a 2 or 2.5. And as long as you got that, put more money in there. And it can really work.
I love that so much. I agree too. I think you need to have a proven offer and you have to have that system dialed in, because what you don't want is a bunch of people and then you have, broken customer service. I love what you said about the ads. One thing I love to talk about is relevancy to the seasons. So, for me, like I teach about PR and how to get into every gift guide. I'm sure there's seasonalities too, as in terms of like how you feature stuff on Etsy. Let's say if you have more than 5 products, how do you know which one to put front and center? And is there kind of a hack about that too?
Oh, great question. Okay. So what I'll say is, if someone has a lot of products, and because putting them on Etsy like does take time and energy, right? You're putting in that effort to create a brand new listing on a new platform. So if you have a lot of products, I recommend bestsellers. Like put your bestsellers on Etsy, the stuff that you know sells, because obviously if it sells on your website, on Instagram, it's probably going to sell on Etsy. Now, I love what you said about seasonality, because people come to Etsy for seasonal gifts. I mean, for teachers' gifts, for Mother's Day, for Father's Day, for Christmas, for every single holiday, for summer things, for fall things. I mean, every single thing imaginable. So for people who do have seasonality, obviously have your products up there that are relevant for the season. And then what you want to do is change your your titles and tags that we talked about towards that. So for example, let's just do skincare. If you have skincare that's meant for dry winter skin, it helps with that. Make sure your titles and tags during the winter season highlight that, because people are probably searching for that, like dry skin remedy, something like that. Cool. Let's have you show up for that. Or if you particularly have, a lot of people I know do like ornaments or things like that for the holidays, make sure that your titles mention the holidays, Christmas, whatever holiday it is that it's for, and that it's up in time for that season. Usually on Etsy, you want to be up like 30 days, maybe 45 days is better, with shipping, etc. So 45 days before that actual holiday. So making sure your products are up there in time for the season, adjusting your titles and tags. And the big thing is, if it's a seasonal item, have some kick-ass seasonal photos. So if it's an item that people love to buy around the holiday season, have some great photos that have holiday decor in it in some way. So people start to think through, oh, who can I gift this to? Or who is this going to be great for this holiday season? So part of that is photography, but Etsy's great for holiday, seasonality, trendy stuff. I mean, people go to Etsy for that stuff. So it's a good place to be.
Oh, I love that so much. I think being specific to the season wins. And so I love how you talked about, even being specific in the title of like gifts for mother-in-law, father-in-law, and then also applying that to your photos. I could talk about this all day. I feel like I learned so much. I mean, I don't have a physical product, but now I'm like kind of excited to have one, because it seems like now you've kind of showed me the ropes. I want to talk about what's changing right now. So when I'm thinking about the year we're in, there's a lot of other platforms like Fair, right? There's also, I forgot what it's called, but there's a lot of these curations, if you will. And then there's also like ChatGPT to like write your titles and captions. What do you think is really changing in the product biz? And if we have all these tools, right? What is really going to separate someone who is doing things well when there's the barrier to entry just keeps getting lower and lower and lower?
Ooh, such a good question. I love that question. I'm very old school in this. What I think sets people apart is the people who are putting in the work, right? Like Chat GPT is great. However, if your Etsy listing description is a bunch of Chat GPT copy and paste things, or if your photos are AI generated photos, it's probably not going to connect with the customer as much as the description of your product that you write as the owner of your business that knows your product and knows your customers like the back of your hand, that knows your product and customers more than ChatGPT does, right? Or the AI generated photos. If you actually have a photo of the experience of the product, of the candle lit on a nightstand with books, and a cozy bed and a cozy pillow, that's going to be so much more impactful than an AI generated image that maybe is similar, but it's not going to have the look and feel of an actual photo, a professional photo that's done in that way. So what I truly think, and maybe this is we'll see how this pans out. I think as more things go AI and Chat GPT, I think the people who stand out are the ones who actually are going to just step up and kind of stick with what they've been doing and accelerate with that to truly connect with their customers on an authentic level. How I think things are going to go is like subconsciously, I think people can tell when a caption on Instagram is written by ChatGPT. Like I can tell in a heartbeat when I'm reading someone's caption. I'm like, great, it's ChatGPT, great. And I can tell when someone has a caption where like I connect with it, right? And I connect with their words. So for me, it's about who is going to do what others won't. A lot of people are going to take the easy way out as things do get easier. But man, the people who decide to be in it to win it, people who decide like, let me stand out and become the best business owner in this category. Let me become the go-to person on this product. That's where you're going to totally separate yourself from the rest.
Ooh, I love it. In it to win it. Always be playing to win, not to lose. Not to lose. I love that you really combine what I like to call kind of the trifecta. Like you have, your business strategies, you have your mindset strategies, a little bit of the spiritual. I love that. So I'm so happy that you're on this podcast. You've given us so much to think about for anyone who has a product, even digital products. I hope this episode is something you come back to. I mean, I think there's no reason why someone can just triple their revenue by using Etsy. You've definitely convinced me. How can people find you and get to know you and tell us about where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. So I primarily hang out on Instagram. My Instagram is Monica Little Coaching. I have a podcast called the Product Biz Podcast. And then I do have a free Etsy training. So I go into much more detail just on how to really amp up your Etsy if you're new or if you've been on Etsy and just need a refresher and want to keep elevating. Perfect for either type of business owner. And that is at monicalittlecoaching.com/Etsy webinar. So if anyone's interested, that's where I would tell them to go. But please say hello on Instagram. Love to chat. That's primarily where I hang out. So I look forward to it.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Now, for everyone listening, if you know of a product biz company, or maybe you're starting one or you have one, please send them this episode. This is awesome. I wish you all the luck. I know there's no reason why we cannot get our products out there into the hands of people who want it. And hopefully this episode has helped you do exactly that. Thank you so much for tuning in.